Derpy Potatoes. It is Erenaroonie here, and welcome to the Spoopy Mouth. It is October, and today we are having some fantastic surprises. See what I did there? Oh, yeah. Chili, corny, I know. Anyways, so today we are having a very special guest here with us. We're actually continuing this podcast on my end because we had just recorded part one on his channel. So if you haven't seen already, please go check that one out first and then come over here. Without further ado, our special guest today is Jeremy Volkman VA. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hello. I am Jeremy Volkman, a voice actor and, when I remember to, a writer. And I am just a nerd of a lot of things.
We like very nerdy things around here, so that's very good. So, any interesting things you would like to describe for our viewers today, or listeners, I should say?
Well, it's been in the news a lot lately that Charles Martinet has retired from from being the voice actor of Mario, and it seems like a lot of things have happened since then.
Especially since we last talked about it, because when we first talked about it, it was mostly just the news that Charles Martinet stepped down from the voice of Mario and was becoming the Mario ambassador, starting to travel across the world to go visit various Mario fans. But since then, we've had news such as the new Mario Wonder game that just came out. And with that, we got knowledge of the new VA who voices for Mario.
And it seems like there were a couple other voice actor changes, but of course, the one that's everyone's focusing on is the new voice actor for Mario. Like, I've noticed that the reaction is a little mixed, but it seems like everyone is generally supportive of the new voice actor, which is great to see. Sometimes when a certain voice actor has played a character for quite a long time, there's generally some uneasy feelings about who they could get to replace them, but it seems like people have been generally pretty supportive of the new voice actors, so that's nice to see.
I agree. Like, a lot of the time when we see voices change, for one reference, obviously, I see a lot of changes with the Sonic the Hedgehog VAs. You know, we've gone through several VAs over the years, voicing in the video games and plus the TV shows, and it's been quite a mixed reaction, a lot of the time very negative, which, I can understand because, even when I was younger, I felt that distinction. I'm just like, oh, I preferred this one. This was my Sonic and blah, blah, blah. And so I understand the sentiment of change being very whack, especially when it's a very distinct change of voice. However, my one hope is that we are able to move past the toxicity levels that people tend to enable during this time, which is just very unnecessary at this point. And from what I've seen with the new Mario VA, it has been overwhelmingly positive, and people calling out the people saying negative things. And of course, we do need to discuss that the VA in question, who is the new Mario, announced it on Twitter, named Kevin Afghani. So, very big, huge congratulations to you for getting that role. That is incredible and sets a precedent for all of us as VAs, because a lot of people have been pointing out that he doesn't have quite a large list of previous works, but still that's a game changer because it gives the opportunity for lesser known VAs to be able to step into such big roles. So it's just incredible of a precedent that it has delivered for all of us as VAs. And it is just been an incredible, overwhelming positive reaction from the community. Everyone wishing them well, even before the casting announcement was announced. It's just been incredible. I have seen a couple of negative people, like, oh, they don't have that many prior, credits and blah blah blah, or really this
Yeah.
is the person they're going with. So, but thankfully, a lot of the people who are positive about the change and trying to be supportive, they're backing up that VA, which props to them for standing up for this VA.
Yeah,
And it's just,
absolutely.
nice to see. I mean, I get it. It's the predecessor of Charles Martinet is a huge one to live up to. And honestly, I feel like we should give them a chance because so far, I mean, it's either give a new VA a chance or reusing the same Mario clips for ever and ever and ever. And obviously, that doesn't seem very palpable when you're thinking about future Mario games. If they want to do new dialogue or what have you, they're gonna need someone else to be able to provide that. So I just hope over time people get more adjusted and welcome Kevin with open arms.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I haven't heard any clips of the new Mario, so I don't know how well of a job the new voice actor does. But yeah, it seems like they have yeah, people have a lot of faith that this voice actor can do the job correctly. I mean, I was researching a bit for this podcast, and I found out that like Charles Martinet had just 6 credits to his name before he became the first official voice of Mario. So everyone's got to start somewhere, and it just remains to be seen what Kevin can bring to Mario's performance, and like how like I don't know, I don't think he would make it like too different because I don't know if Nintendo still wants him to sound like Charles's version of Mario, but yeah,
It did come at a very interesting time considering that the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out with Chris Pratt voicing it. And if you remember, I made a hilarious reaction video with it because, like, I do like Chris Pratt, don't get me wrong, but envisioning him as the voice of Mario had my brain just flustered and I was dying internally, just like, what are they going to do? What is he going to sound like? This is going to be hilarious. And, I ended up being genuinely surprised watching it in theaters the opening day. I just felt so much emotion and, just I feel like he was able to provide a mixture of all the Mario voices together. So you have that Brooklyn accent as well as the Charles Martinet voice that we know and love. And I feel like that was something that kinda I feel it prepped people, to embrace the fact that we were eventually gonna get a new Mario.
yeah, like I do think that people will warm to it over time, and like yeah, I feel like yeah, Nintendo has like people on board that know like what direction to give the new voice actor to like help bring out more of that personality.
I mean, I
uh
have no doubt in their ability. I mean, with the Super Mario Bros. Movie that they did, they pretty much made sure that it was faithful to some extent to the games. There was some creative liberties taken, but a good chunk of it really was prepped in a way that made everything work out, I feel, really well. And like, I mean, they had such faith that they would say it all the time. Like they handpicked Chris Pratt for the role. So I'm like, if they can do that for this film, I know for a fact that they could do so for our future Mario in our games.
and that's the key, really, is just you're gonna change of like something as recognizable as like the voice actor for probably one of the, like if not the most popular video game character of all time. Like yeah, you just need to make sure that like you know what to do to just help ease people into it. Like it will be interesting seeing just how they go from not just like the new Super Mario Bros. Game, but like future like media that will feature the new voice actor.
It's definitely just something very interesting to see because you don't think about these things right away. But then again, I think people tend to forget as well that Mario used to have a VA in the old cartoons that had a Brooklyn accent. And then when Charles Martinet came around, like you said, he didn't have that many credits, which I find fascinating. And he ended up doing something completely different. Instead of that Brooklyn accent, he brought that Italian accent. So I feel like change is something that should be embraced in this case because it just brings about something fantastic with it that no one was expecting.
Yeah, the good thing about having like another voice actor play the character is that potentially you could have this new like the new voice actor like reprise the role for like 20, 30 years if need be, like it helps add like longevity to the character, which like I don't mean to like sound like I'm like I don't mean it to sound like Charles couldn't do that, but just to help bring in like some new blood to like keep it going.
I mean, change is hard. It really does get, especially when you have such nostalgia and a certain voice in your head when it comes to certain characters. But it definitely does bring about something, I think, special when we have such love for a character that I feel like in the end, a lot of people will just embrace the new VA and embrace the direction Mario goes from here on out.
Yeah. And like I wonder if like the voice actor could like maybe talk to like Charles and see like how he approached the character just to keep like a lot of the same dynamics that Charles brought to the character of Mario and how Mario would react to like a certain situation.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that Charles probably gave the new VA a seal of approval. I mean, he is the Mario ambassador now, after all, and the predecessor that, Kevin is working with now.
Yeah, and that's really all that I think Nintendo can ask for is that people have that faith in Kevin.
A lot of change has been going on in Nintendo, so it's just jarring to see how much has changed. Like, I mean, just look at the Pokemon anime. Ash finally became the champion, and now we have a brand new protagonist. Like, that was so crazy to see. Like, no one thought it would ever, move on to a new character. So, I mean, there's just things that are changing and bringing about something new to sort of freshen things up. And it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, and like I think that with some of the franchises that have gone for like 20, 30 years, like Pokemon, like I feel like the people involved have that feeling of just wanting to branch out and maybe do something different. So like it may just be a thing where like they're ready to move on to a new character, and like now the work becomes about helping people adjust to the fact that this thing that you liked 20, 30 years ago is going to be changing, and that's not always a bad thing. Like it can help bring new life to the franchise, like and help people kind of feel oh my god, words.
It's all
um
good.
yeah, like they can help like the current generation feel the same way that people that grew up with the Pokemon from 20, 30 years ago or another franchise, like yeah, help them feel the same that a lot of people that grew up with that franchise did. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what I want to say, but
It's all good.
yeah, but that's just how I feel about it. Obviously everyone's different, so they're gonna have different reactions to it, stuff like that.
I think the main takeaway is just like, change does happen and maybe it's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of changes, we have had quite a number of changes, specifically seen more so on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, semantics. A lot of things has been changing, in other words, such as no longer just being Erenaroonie. I now have been going by Erenaroonie VA, and now I have a separate alias for my more professional original works, which is Erenaroonie. So, if you are interested in taking part of those projects, whether it be for voice acting, for artwork, for video editing, audio editing, what have you, I am more than willing to have people audition for these projects. I have a lot in store, and it's only the beginning. The reason being is, well, I'm no longer in grad school. Big shocker! Oh my goodness. So, I was going to grad school for quite a while, and then um, some personal things throughout my life that just kept happening made it very difficult and negatively impacted my work ethic and my motivation. So, I was let go from my program this semester, and I just felt very low, and it was hard. It was just such a gut punch to know, like, my best wasn't good enough for this program, and there was just nothing else I could have done. There was nothing else I could have give. So it was just a very painful period of time. And then, if you were there in June, you might have seen it, might have not, but I got to go to Sonic Revolution with my Sonic Villains team, which was absolutely incredible. Getting to meet all these people who absolutely adore Sonic and just getting together, meeting people that I've only seen online or seeing people that I just adore. It was amazing, and being able to talk about our film, this fan film that we have put so much blood and tears and love into, is just phenomenal. And so that gave me such a boost that, it helped me break away from this depressive state that I was in. I was just miserable with myself, and I'm just like recently still been fighting it, and lately I'm just like, no, this ends now. And now I am much more passionate than I've ever been with voice acting. I have been so amazed with how much I have learned and seen throughout the years. And now I'm finally pushing forward with the time that I have now no longer being in grad school. So now that I can actually focus on doing the things that I love. So when I'm done with the workday, work stays at work. And now I can actually go home and work on my passions. So now I've been voice acting, I've been writing, I've been drawing, I've been doing all kinds of things. And so I am so thankful for everyone who has helped me get to that point, because I could not have gotten there without you all. So, yes, I still do battle with depression and anxiety and things like that, but it's such a positive change, and I can't wait to share with you all.
Yeah, it definitely seemed very hectic on your end, like these past couple months.
Just from getting sick to getting sick again to grad school to all these other things in between. My current job at the time was just making me miserable. Now I have a new job, and now I have a new focus on my career. I have been working little by little on things for voice acting, such as creating my new demo reel, working to get professional headshots, working on my website, and actually prepping up a new YouTube channel specifically for my professional original works under Erenaroonie, or I'm sorry, that's separate from Erenaroonie. So I still do Erenaroonie content, which, I don't think I'll stop, but I will be doing a lot more original work that uh, breaks away from Arena into things like audio dramas, animatics, things of that nature. Even live action, which I am excited for because I love doing both live action and voiceover. So there's just a lot in store in these upcoming years that I cannot wait to show you.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. Yeah, I've kind of wanted to branch off into live action work myself, but it's just I don't know how to go about getting that started, unfortunately.
You know
But
what? Same, in all honesty. It's more so been short films that I've done on my own.
yeah, just but once you get that one good idea, then like it just that kind of unleashes the snowball at the top of the mountain. Like should just be, the start of something great, hopefully.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, for me, the largest things that I want to do involve turning some of my storylines that I've created over the years into anime. I used to think, live action. I used to think TV shows and blah blah blah. And now I'm thinking, in the past couple of years, I'm like, you know what? These storylines fit more in the theme of anime than anything else. So one hope that I have is to, with the larger projects that I cannot adapt into audio dramas or animatics, I hope one day I get the opportunity to put them on the screen and bring them to life through anime.
Yeah, and like with certain ideas, because I've had this issue myself. That they're just like the visual aspect of the project is where it's really going to shine. Like there are some things that don't translate all too well to audio, uh like audio only projects, as I've learned, because I tried to turn one of my projects into an audio drama, and then it just it kind of got stonewalled. um,
I feel that so hard. So many times has that happened. Initially, I started off in junior high putting all these ideas into books and a few scripts, but nothing ever came out of those scripts and books because they were left unfinished because they were too big to put into a single book or a single script. It's just like there's so much I want to adapt, but an audio drama is not going to capture it, especially when it's say action sequences or things of that nature. It doesn't translate well enough to get that emotion, the feeling, that the image that see in my head. And I'm hoping to actually be able to like project what I see onto the screen rather than just here's the sound. Hopefully you can tell what I'm doing. I mean, some of these projects I have successfully been able to adapt into audio dramas, scripts, and what have you, but some of them, it's not gonna work. So they have to be pushed aside until given that opportunity.
yeah, and I feel like if you have like a team or so that that can help you just bring what you see, like bring what you have in your head like out, I feel like it like works a lot better. But yeah, just the main issue is trying to find people that can help you do that and that share your vision for this project, I think.
It gets
I
very tricky for sure, because like a lot of time that you hear in media, someone will have a script and a whole idea, and then it just morphs into something completely different because some other larger figure takes over it and just disassembles it. So that's one of my fears. That's why I haven't necessarily tried to attempt to bring it to something bigger. That's why I've tried to basically stay down into this certain area where I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, that's always the creative always the creative issue is that like you just have the certain vision for something, and sometimes like you have to kind of let your vision go and just like let someone else try to put their vision into this. And sometimes there are cases where you and someone else can like compromise and figure out something that works for both of you. But yeah, that's always the thing with creating your own project, is just trying to come up with something that you feel great with.
Some people that you collaborate with, don't get me wrong, a lot of them can be absolutely incredible. They'll fill in the gaps that you lack in, or they'll bring in something that entirely new that you hadn't even thought of and are just blown away by it. And then I guess my biggest fear is the ones that just completely take over your project. That's always been a big fear of mine. So when I do collaborate with people, I hope to find those who are passionate about the project and working with what we have from there.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of projects, uh, since we were talking about casting and live action and such, what have you, what would be a genre of film that you would like to be in?
Um. Hmm. Uh, like I have a couple ideas for like what I imagine, but I would honestly like to do like some work in horror movies because I feel like I could bring a lot to the table even in like a live action horror setting.
For me, I would love to do horror as well, but also I feel just with my natural presence because and you can, honest to God, ask any friend of mine that knows me in person. There are just things that just happen. I don't try to be funny. It just happens. Why? I have no freaking clue. But I'm just a walking slapstick comedy. And I'm just like, if someone were to record this, this would be the funniest freaking thing you have ever seen. There's just so many mishaps that I get into, so many funny things that I say just out of the blue. I mean, I feel like if I had the ability to sort of just ad lib and improv something in a comedy movie, like it would probably showcase a lot of the funny scenarios that we have experienced over the years. I mean, there's just so many. I can give you an example right here. So, as everyone knows, and you might know as well, the running gag of John Cena being my waifu. Do you know this one?
I, I do remember that.
For those of you new to the channel, John Cena is my waifu. Let me explain. So, my dad loves Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He always loved him in WWE. And I think I saw John Cena first time in the Fred movie on Nickelodeon
Oh
as
dear.
Fred's imaginary dad. I think that was the first time I saw John Cena. And so, knowing who John Cena was and then finding out that John Cena and The Rock had some beef together for WWE, I started to mess around with my dad. Big mistake. This was poor judgment, okay? I understand that now, but good lord. So every time my dad would talk about The Rock and blah 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 blah, I'd be like, John Cena can beat up The Rock and da 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 da. And so I would be like, I love John Cena. John Cena's gonna win and da da da. And so me and my dad would just keep going. But the thing about my dad is you never win with my dad, okay? My dad will always win. He will always pull something out of his sleeve, and he will always beat you at your own game. And I learned this the hard way. Because one Christmas, I am unraveling a Christmas present, and on the little tag, it says, to Arena from John Cena. Would you like to know what this present contained?
I think I remember it, but yeah, tell the audience that hasn't heard this story before.
Within the contents of this package was a shirtless picture of John Cena. And I was mortified. I am so awkward, y'all. I am so awkward. I couldn't even look the poster in the eyes. Like I know it's a picture, but I can't look the picture in the eyes. Like that's how freaking awkward I am, okay? So, I took said picture back to my dorm. For context, our dorm was an open space, so it was not separate bedrooms. It was just like four corners, four beds, and four girls living together in this one space. Um, so next to my bed, I attempt to put on this picture of John Cena on the wall, and I couldn't. Every time I put him up halfway, I beat his eyes, I would roll it up and put it back away. I could not look him in the eyes. And so at some point, after a couple of days of attempting to do this, I was able to successfully put the poster up. With the poster up, I still could not look John Cena in the eyes. So every time I would walk past that poster, I would look neck down at John Cena, which again, shirtless, so I couldn't look at the picture at all. So my roommate saw this picture often because, again, open space. My area was right before the kitchen. So you have the kitchen and then my little corner. And there is a wall where the dining table is. So there's the dining table, and to the left is a wall. And then behind the dining table is my corner with the picture of John Cena. My roommate and I are sitting at the table one day, and we're talking, and she mentions the poster. I'm sorry, it's so funny. She mentions the poster of John Cena. So I intend to look around. My mistake. I looked to the corner where the wall was. So instead of turning around and facing John Cena, I smacked my head into the wall. Violently smacking my head into the wall. My roommate looks mortified. She's so confused as to why I just randomly smacked my face into the wall. Because I'm right there dying by grabbing my head. The poster of John Cena's behind me laughing. My roommate is mortified, like, what the hell did you just do? And I said I was trying to look at the poster of John Cena. So, there's nothing... it's not scripted, it's not intentional. Funny shit will happen to me just because I am that awkward of a person. So that is why I think it would be incredible if I was in a comedy movie. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, with what you've described, I could totally see you in a comedy movie.
I mean, that's how my character, Mr. Roly Poly, came about, was because of an accident. Oh, wait, do you know about this one?
I don't think I do.
It is all good. So, the best way to listen to this accident was the Roly Poly retelling recital. But to give you the gist of it, my roommate and I just got off the bus. We're going home. We had just gone grocery shopping. I have a little portable grocery shopping cart in front of me. I'm walking. I look down. I see a Roly Poly right there before I walk. So I let him walk in front of my cart, and I say, go ahead, Mr. Roly Poly. As soon as I say that, my cart hits a freaking crack in the sidewalk, and I fall into my cart. So both feet are in the air. I'm stuck on top of the cart. And my roommate's just looking at me. Same one, by the way. With the same freaking look she made when I smacked my head into the wall. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm just reaching out to her like, freaking help me! Help me!
And then you thought, I need to immortalize this somehow.
And then eventually she actually had to come over and pick me up because I couldn't get out of the cart. To make matters worse, again, we had just gotten off the bus stop, so the light rail is right next to us, and other buses are there too. So everyone in the world in that location saw all of this happening. And all because I looked down and saw Roly Poly. So again, I would be great in a comedy. Just need a camera crew to record all the shit I get into. It will be comedy for decades. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it feels almost like a Three Stooges routine sometimes.
Exactly. Oh man, I have not thought of a more perfect way to describe it. It is exactly like the Three Stooges, just a bunch of slapstick comedy.
Yeah, and like it's not even like intentional. Like it's just completely accidental, and
If
just from
someone
like
would intentionally smack their face into the wall, I want to know what you are on. Like,
uh,
how far do you need to go for the joke to work? Because, man, I did it unintentionally.
I mean, I understand uh, committing to the bit, but like there's kind of a level there between. Yeah.
There was definitely a level, and I crossed it without even trying. I feel like I would be great in an Adam Sandler movie because there are times that I can sound like the female equivalent of Adam Sandler. So if I were to be in a comedy movie, I think I would like to be in an Adam Sandler movie. Be like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh my god." So I would just pull out the female Adam Sandler every time. Cuz that's how I sound on a daily basis without even trying.
Yeah, you just gotta like find that like niche and just like jump fully into that. I think.
It would definitely be something amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why I think that I would do great in like a horror movie because if you don't know, I am very skinny and I'm also very like my shoulders and like my arms are very mobile. So I've put my hand like my arms behind my head just to try to like stretch,
Oh my
and then like
gosh.
yeah, someone would say like, "Yeah, you should be in like a horror movie." Because yeah, I feel like I would do great as like just like a crawling, like almost like Gollum type character, but like
You know
I
who
don't
you would
really.
make me think of is Doug Jones.
Yeah,
He
that's
does like a bunch like he's Billy in Hocus Pocus. He typically plays those scrawny, scary characters.
yeah. I've heard comparisons to him before.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing is like how I look is like is a very it very much contrasts with my voice, which if you've heard me do voice acting, like it sounds a lot different. But yeah, I just need to find like a perfect role that like I can use like my mobility and like just still have like my voice in there somewhere. But um
I feel like
yeah.
I'm the exact opposite. So for me, I am a gentle chunk. I am thick. So, you wouldn't really suspect me for something scary in a horror movie. If anything, you would think I'm one of the final girls because of how I am. And I feel like I would love to use that to my advantage because then I could really pull a surprise with how scary I can actually be with horror characters. I used to do a lot of practice in the mirror, face work and such like that, and I can go from 0 to 100 really fast. I can be the most innocent looking face, and then all of a sudden my face will drop, my eye will slightly twitch, my mouth will slightly twitch, and my eyes will grow large. My mom calls them the owl eyes because my eyes just get so big when I stare at you. And I feel like that would be such a shock for someone, especially when it's a who done it. Like, I feel like that would be such a cool twist is using my physical features to my advantage because I like to do creepy characters. I love voice acting creepy characters. I want to do more of them, but I don't get a chance
Same.
that much. But for live action acting, because of how I look, I would love to use that to my advantage. Because you wouldn't suspect the plus size girl who looks like she's afraid of everything, like a derpy potato. You wouldn't suspect that character to be the main villain. And I would love an opportunity to build on that.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of potential there. I I have messed with the idea because like if you saw me in person, like I look like a stereotypical nerd from like a for like an 80s movie. But again, like going back to the voice thing, like it just have like this character that doesn't look too like threatening, and then just I go into my voice and I'm just like I will kill you, and just like it.
It's
Yeah,
such an awesome play on physical acting.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think
um
that's why VAs really thrive in horror, because I've seen several VAs who do both voice work, and then they also do horror movies. Like I'll give a good example. E.G. Daily, she's the voice of Tommy Pickles in Rugrats.
yeah,
So, she's obviously a very incredible voice actress, very talented, many roles, a lot of them from childhood nostalgia. I was watching the Rob Zombie movie 31, and she's in there. Initially, I thought she was one of the good guys, and then all of a sudden, if spoiler alert, she's revealed to be one of the bad guys, and she's dressed in this clown outfit, and her voice is just sinister, and like it's both childish, sinister, yet creepy at the same time. I mean, she just captures this essence of like a crazed serial killer, just like her character. And it's just amazing how she's able to do that at the drop of a hat. And that's why I'm just like, voice actors I feel could really thrive in live action acting as well. And she is an incredible example of that.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that like that's almost like a breath of fresh air for any prospective voice actor would be to have that like that typecast that people essentially know you for, like voicing a lot of like cherished childhood characters, and then they go get cast in a horror movie where it's completely different from them, from like what they usually do. So yeah, that would be a lot of fun, I'm sure, to have a role like that.
I mean, the first ever VA who really got me was Matthew Lillard, because I knew him from as Shaggy from Scooby Doo, and here I am with my cousins watching Scream for the first time on VHS, and I'm like, "Oh no, Shaggy! I hope he doesn't get killed!" And they're just all like laughing in laughing in the corner because they know what's coming, but I don't. And he's revealed to be the killer. I'm like, "Oh my god, I got betrayed by Shaggy!" Like, it's such a good, like, trope. It always gets me.
Yeah, I was just thinking because we talked a little bit about this on my podcast, but I was just thinking, like, I wonder what that must have felt like for someone that saw Scream first and then saw Scooby Doo. So it's like, wait a minute.
Me, it's the exact opposite. I saw Shaggy and then I saw Stu. It was so hilarious looking back on it, like, oh, my childhood was a lie.
Yeah, that's the beauty of acting, is that you can just have that with certain roles.
I mean, like,
And
right now, he's voicing Shaggy in the animated series, and here he is about to be a character in Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, oh my gosh!
yeah, that was actually kind of cool that like he was able to take over as like the voice of Shaggy. Yeah, because like his work in the two Scooby-Doo live action movies like helped secure him a more like a more recurring role, I guess, is like the voice of Shaggy.
I mean, he definitely showed his dedication to the role by doing what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, and it may just have been a thing where like they realized how much of a fit he was for Shaggy.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, like I can't really think of anyone else that like would have done as well as he did in that role. Not off the top of my head, anyways.
If I remember correctly, and again, people can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in the late '90s, early 2000s, there was those direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies like, Zombie Island, which is Ghost, Zombie Invaders, Cyber Chase, and if I remember correctly, it was Billy West who was Shaggy. Again, I might have the wrong VA, but the VA for those specific ones did an absolutely incredible job as Shaggy. It was during a time where there was conflict between the casting and, Casey Kasem in some sort of dispute over the character. And so they did have this alternate VA step in for the role of Shaggy. And even though it ended up going back to Casey and then eventually to Matthew Lillard, I gotta give props to this VA because he was still able to do a very interesting job as Shaggy as well.
Yeah, and from what I remember, Billy West had done a lot of roles on Futurama, so he definitely had a lot of versatility. But yeah, like when you're going to an established character, like the versatility can help, but yeah, it's just finding that right voice for him. I was trying to think of something else, but my brain is.
It is all good. Speaking of Scooby Doo, just the other night I was actually drawing Scooby Doo. As I said prior, I was returning to a lot of old projects that never came to fruition. And I was drawing Scooby Doo for the final frames in the Erenaroonie Six Nights of Stairs Shriekwell, and I'm at the last episode, and I have been absolutely and utterly insistent on including as many characters as I can into this one small screen. And one of them I included was Scooby Doo. And I just remember drawing him for the first time was so tricky because, like, a lot of these characters I have never drawn before or even know the anatomy of drawing them. So it was just a lot of fun being able to draw him one more time and put him into this final end scene that I'm working on. But other than that, like, there's gonna be several other projects that I've been working on. But one thing that I absolutely adored was just being able to work with so many VAs who brought these characters to life, using their own takes on the characters or paying and of course ultimately paying homage to these characters.
I feel like having that different perspective is good because you can kind of see how someone else like sees this character, and like you can use that to like help make the character more like I guess give them more depth than like originally. And like yeah, you may have like they may notice something about that character that you missed like on the first time, or just like an aspect of their personality that they tended to notice a lot more than you did. I do think that yeah, like having that different perspective is good.
Like, another thing that I was gonna mention was, like, along with the VAs that I have working with me for the Screeneroonie Six Nights of Scares, I've also been casting, I don't know, it's been showing on Twitter or not, but I've also been casting for that Sonic Movie 3 fan scenes. And for that project, I had to I was just like there were so many talented VAs who auditioned for each of the characters, and like it was so hard to narrow it down because there were so many who really did embody their respective character from the films. So like several of the VAs who auditioned for Sonic, I mean it sounded like I was listening to Ben Schwartz. It was incredible. And yet they were also providing their own take on the character too, which was phenomenal. And it's just I love seeing that sort of passion when it comes to people bringing these characters to life and also putting a little bit of a twist on it while also being faithful and paying homage to their predecessors.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing. Like when you have to cast people as characters, like this person did this thing that I really like, but also this person did this thing that I feel like could add something to the character. And it's just like, oh, there are too many options. I don't know.
Yes, it was so hard doing the casting decision, but I was just like, I really hope a lot of these VAs come back and audition for future projects because just oh my goodness, just listening to their auditions, they were phenomenal. And, I was just like, damn it, I can't cast all of you. I want to have all of you on board, but I can't do this with everyone. So I'm just like, you know, at some point, I do hope to be able to have those same individuals and previous projects as well who would be interested in working on these future projects that I come out with, which obviously, I think I'm gonna start pushing those out in January.
Yeah, just like I think what you need to do is just like take a note of like oh, this person had a really good such and such. Like I may be able to like I'll keep their name around in case I have a future project that or like just like maybe like create a character specifically tailored for that voice actor, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I don't
without a
know.
doubt. I mean, there was the way I cast was I had the characters um listed at the top and I had all the VAs listed on the side and I had to do like check marks and make little notes on, their respective takes. And it was just like, wow, it's a very hard decision. So many of them have this many check marks and just like I wanna say yes to this character, but this one does a little bit more motion. Oh, but this one does a better scream. I'm just like conflict internally. Casting is so difficult, but I still enjoy it because you just get to see so many talented people that you otherwise would not have been able to meet.
Yeah. And yeah, like it's like you said that even if you can't use them in like this project, like there's still the opportunity to work with them in like a future project. Like, yeah, you can still help them bring one of your characters to life, even if like that might not be at this moment.
Without a doubt. So it's a lot of fun being able to bring these projects to life and casting never gets easier. I'll say that right now. Casting for projects never gets easier. Auditioning can be tricky at times. I tend to just record and forget, but in terms of actually having to choose through the various auditions you go through is such a difficult task to do. But it's one that has to be done, and in the end you still get to see so many incredible people.
Yeah. There's something I was going to say, but now I can't remember what it was.
Oh no, it's all good.
Yeah, it was something about like well, and also one of the things that I was thinking about was that like you may have like this project with these voice actors and then like you put it on like Twitter or on YouTube and like people find out about it, and so like the next project that you go to make, there's not only like the voice actors from before, but there's also even more voice actors that found out about you because of that project. And uh, yeah, now it just makes it even harder to choose like
Oh, without a
between
doubt. Without a doubt.
yeah, and it's sometimes it's just like why are there so many talented people that I want to work with, but it's just
I think it's harder, especially when it's a small array of characters compared to, say, my larger um, array of characters. So, like, for this sequel project, there was a lot of characters to be cast, and it was it wasn't as tricky as knowing that I have such a limited amount of characters for this specific Sonic project. So it's just like, there's a big gap here. There's a lot of characters to fill here, but so small here. It's still a lot more auditions to go through. So it just gets very tricky. But I feel like the larger ones make it a little bit easier in terms of casting. Because you don't have to say no to as many, I feel.
And it may be a thing where if they auditioned for like one character, but you think that they would fit another character a lot more. Like I feel like that can help with the casting process.
That has happened once or twice, and it ended up working out fantastic.
Yeah, so I could see how like having more characters can like help make it easier, as opposed to a smaller cast where like there's not as much like the personalities are very like catered to that character, or just like they're all trying to go for like this one character, but like it doesn't, like I don't know if they would fit the same if in any of the other characters. At least that's what I think about it.
Right, yeah. It doesn't get easier, but it is it does help when you have quite an array of people, because once you hear their voices, it's just like, I know I can reach out to this person again in the future.
And like even if they don't want to like come on board as a voice actor, like you could maybe consult like some other people about what they feel, like if you're having a hard time deciding. I think yeah, just like maybe having that a different perspective could help narrow down some of the choices.
Yeah, like, it's interesting because I don't think I've had to have someone to help with the casting process. I think the most difficult challenge that I've had people help me time and time again is the audio. It's these getting the sound effects that correlate. I do my best to Foley as much as possible, but there are times I just cannot Foley. I cannot find the sound effect I'm wanting, and it just gets very tricky. So the audio editing I find even more tricky than the actual casting wise.
Yeah, I wonder how you would even yeah, I just wonder how you come up with some of those sounds.
Some of
Because like
them
I
have been very interesting. Um, let's see. What's one that I've done? Okay, so like obviously footsteps are me walking. There is a cereal foley where I literally recorded myself eating breakfast. There's just I'm trying to think of some other ones that I've done. Um, so like a character smacking another character with a book, I just like grabbed a bunch of piece of paper and like slapped it against something. Like there's so
yeah,
many that I've done, and it gets you try to find, because the thing about Foley artists is that you don't see what they're necessarily working with. So like what you hear or what you see as bones crunching is just some celery being twisted. So it's just like, it makes it interesting trying to find the right sound and what makes that sound.
yeah. For example, I saw this video being shared on my Twitter. It was some people doing Foley work for I think it was like a major motion picture or something, but they would walk in a certain
I
way.
know what you're talking
Um,
about. So they were okay, so there was like it was a group of people walking together and just walking and talking, right? And they're all in
yeah,
just like a square.
yeah, and like that was how they like made the that was how they made the Foley for like a large crowd of people.
Yeah.
Um, and I wouldn't think about that. Like, yeah, it's kind of fascinating how creative people can be with when it comes to creating certain sounds. And you're just like, I would have never thought of that in a million years.
It's very interesting, especially when you hear a lot of the same Foley sounds reused a lot. One that always irks me now because it's used so much is the sound of children laughing. There's and not like in a weird way, like oh I hate children. I mean they use the same exact Foley sound of children playing around, laughing and giggling the same time every time, or the babies crying or laughing or stuff like that. It's the same damn baby cues or coos, and I'm just like record an actual baby already!
Yeah, I know like a lot of stock sound effects like get used a lot because it can be used in a lot of different situations. But the thing is, like,
They get
yeah,
overused.
yeah, absolutely. I know that with the Wilhelm scream, it's been used for like 100 years or so, but like some of the newer movies that use it tend to make it like a little like more unique to like the film, or like they try to like vary it up maybe like
I've seen it used
um
as a gag as well.
yeah, so have I. There was this one YouTube video from this group of comedians called Auntie Donna, where it was a guy just throwing like his other coworkers around the office for slighting him in some minor way. Uh, it, I'm not making it sound as funny as it actually is, but yeah, it had like each of the throws had like the Wilhelm scream and also had the body turn into an obvious puppet, but it was just like it was just very funny like having it in there.
Yeah.
Um
Oh man, that is people get so creative with this stuff, I swear.
yeah, and it's just it gets inspired by like some of the most random things that you don't really expect. But yeah, that's just how creativity can be sometimes.
Sometimes you gotta work with what you got. And also, that Sonic project, I'm really looking forward to bringing it to life because I've always had these ideas for Sonic movies in general when ever since junior high, I had these specific films in mind, but knowing that the Sonic movies are already out now, like two of them now, I'm trying to be faithful but also bring in some ideas that I have with these two scenes. So I hope people enjoy it. And stick around for more. And of course, please give Jeremy VA a follow.
But yeah, at Jeremy Volkman VA on Twitter. I think I'm Jeremy Volkman VA on most websites just to keep it consistent. But yeah, I have the link tree in my Twitter bio. If you want to see the various sites that I am on,
I will link
and
them inside the description of this video.
also go check out the other half of this podcast. Nudge, nudge.
Also linked in the bottom of this video. So, without further ado, Jeremy, I want to say thank you so much, my dude. You are an incredible friendo, and I'm grateful to have been able to do this. It was a long time in the making, but we finally did it, my dude. We finally did it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, even if there were some schedule issues here and there, but that's
We got it.
life
We
just
did
got
it.
a life. Yeah,
Life is gonna life, and it's gonna continue to life because we're gonna keep living as best as we possibly can.
yeah.
So, corny outro aside, I hope you all have a wonderful time. Have a great day, my lovelies. Bye bye.
Bye bye.